Okay, hi YouTube, Mr. User Boss here, and this is going to be my first look and unboxing of the replica iPod Nano. Now I think this is the third generation and it's a very cheap item, so I'm keeping my expectations grounded here. So the packaging is actually very Apple-esque. I mean, it doesn't have the same quality or initial appeal. It's all plastic and not exactly great plastic at that. And the iPod itself is kind of shrink wrapped in this not so attractive manner. So the actual iPod itself has 8 GB of storage, which is actually more than the one we had on the original iPod. And it supports e-readers, MP3, MP4, as well as voice recording. So I've seen a lot of these floating around on eBay and Amazon, and it's a very popular item. I think, just one listing alone has sold almost 10,000 of these. So that's a very impressive stat, and I can kind of see why. You see a picture of an iPod Nano, and then you see the price tag of about £10, and you pretty much impulse buy it. So anyway, on the inside, the packaging is really not that nice. I mean, understandably, this is a very cheap MP3 player, and it's actually surprising that it comes with a box like this at all, but the box is not a nice box. So I'm pretty impressed that they've actually gone to the effort to recreate the Apple cable. There was absolutely no need to do that, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Even better, it probably would have been to use the lightning connector, but oh well, it's still a good effort. And honestly, I'm actually kind of surprised how thin this paper is. It's probably one of the thinnest papers I've ever seen, so in terms of packaging, it's really not that visually impressive. So I wouldn't really recommend buying this as a gift to someone. The iPod itself, I'm going to refer to it as an iPod because that's clearly what it's trying to be, even though it never actually mentions it on the listing. But anyway, the iPod itself is very cheap. It doesn't feel like it has the same build quality as the original, and it's very plasticky. I know the original has a metal back, and this one is sort of a plastic but metal feel, if you know what I mean. It's definitely not got the original feel. Now, although this MP3 player is significantly lighter, it actually has a very similar feel on the front. The buttons actually feel quite nice, and the screen is just the right size. However, I've read a couple of the reviews, and some of the people said the screen was really rubbish, so, we'll turn this on and test that theory for sure. But first impressions are actually okay. I mean, for a $10 MP3 player, I wouldn't have expected much more than this. I mean, there are a couple of Sony ones and a couple of Walkmans, which perhaps are a bit more solid, but this is still adequate. I mean, it's not exactly one of those rugged, shatterproof ones, but it'll last. It feels pretty okay. Okay, so turning on the display, you can tell straight away this is no Apple product. It kind of looks a little bit like the original iPhone display, sort of adequate in terms of color reproduction and stuff, but by no means Retina. Now the controls are a little bit unresponsive. As you can see, there is no track wheel. You control by using the sort of backward and forward buttons, and they're on and off really. I mean, generally it works, but you have to press a little bit harder than is comfortable to do so, and even then it's a little bit temperamental. So for some reason my middle button is not working at all, so I can't actually make any selections, and to say the least, this is a little bit of a hindrance, and I think this is a risk you generally take when buying products from China especially. They just tend to have their own little issues. And that's why I think that if you're actually going to buy something like this, your best bet is probably eBay, because at least, if something goes wrong, there's a very good returns policy, and eBay is very strict with sellers, so I tend to buy my stuff from there unless I can get it much cheaper elsewhere. So we've also got an adjusting volume feature, and I mean the actual tracks sound pretty good, and to be honest, I'm actually fairly impressed with the display. The manufacturers who make this can't be making much profit on this item if it's selling for just $10. So in conclusion, I would actually say this is an okay product. I mean, I've had a couple of Walkmans and stuff which are probably a little bit better, but for $10 you're actually not really losing out. So if you want something that looks like an iPod, then this is probably the best bet.